Welcome to UTB Blogcast number 16. We've got a full house this time, not like last time. Not just Dave and I sitting here chatting back and forth. Ian decided to come back this time. Sorry, Bartron. And we've got Webb, or actually we've got Webb's Wall, but Webb is here with us too.
Hello guys, good to be back.
Thanks for saving our ass.
There's basically one main topic I want to talk about, and that's yesterday's Recode conversation. Chen at Recode. It seems to have put us back about 2 weeks again to where the community's going crazy, thinking the end is near, the sky is falling. Cluck, cluck, cluck. Anyone want to jump in here? I mean, we've all read what Recode has put out. Did they put out a video? Did we ever see any video?
No, I can't find it. I looked on YouTube and even on Recode, and now they got nothing.
Yeah, so I looked for it earlier today, and still nothing. And what bothers me about Recode is Recode, like The Verge, is one of those media outlets that seem to be very anti-BlackBerry. I mean, we've had definite issues with what they reported about BlackBerry in the past, and I remember a previous interview with Chen that went totally wrong with Miss Ina Fried there hammering him about getting out of the device business. Was that a year ago?
Possibly.
A year ago.
Yeah, about that. But that's the one where Mossberg said, I don't know anyone who uses BBM. I believe that was the interview you're talking to. Yeah, like you said, I mean, that's why I went to look for the videos first, because I'm looking at this, and the only transcripts I've seen, or reports on it, are from two notorious BlackBerry haters. There's, the Recode and the Verge. So I don't trust a damn thing they write. I'm sure much of what they're saying is true. And now that Chen has written his retort, we can compare and see some of it was true, but I want to see the video. I want to see, that's really what I want to see, because with that you can see his body language. You can tell if he's improvising or if it's planned. And I'm certain, because he knew well ahead of time that he's going to have this this interview, that he would have planned it ahead. He would have thought it out, what he's going to say, and that. I mean, look what happens when he tries to improvise. I mean, look at that demo he did for Amber. You see him pausing stuff. He can't improvise. At least not. He can't be put on the hot seat on the spot. I know that. I think from what I've seen from the other interviews with him is, he prepares his stuff ahead of time. He has it in his head, just notes what he wants to say and points he wants to make, and he just hammers it home. And so that's why I want to see the video. From the video, we could tell, how confident is he when he says it? Does he pause? If not, then he's already calculated it, and what he's saying is in fact a calculated risk, or it was planned and deliberate. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I want to see what's left out.
Yeah, I was just about to kind of talk about that. I mean, just going to the point, even with what he wrote today in the article that he posted on Inside BlackBerry Blogs, he was basically saying that a tiny piece of what the interview actually happened was posted by Recode. And we don't really know, like, all the other stuff that was omitted. It might have been, painted BlackBerry in a different light if it was included in the transcript. So I think it would probably be best if they just posted the entire interview and just give us a chance to judge for ourselves.
Yeah, so Webb, you're talking about, and sorry I dropped out and came back, but Webb, you're talking about cherry picking, which is a very typical...
Exactly.
It's a very typical tactic for people who wish to be negative about a certain conversation or subject, company, whatever the hell it is. If you have an agenda, let's say, then cherry picking is your friend. I mean, that's what you do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, not cool.
Yeah.
I missed some of what you guys were saying.
Well, yeah, Ian, I mean, we're all basically saying the same thing, that we want to see all of it, because even the grunts and the ums and, the typical part of conversation that you have, when you can tell if a question is something that, you don't want to answer, you don't want to put it out there, or if you're just quickly throwing an answer out there. But I mean, everyone's talking about the mistakes that were made yesterday. Going through the channels, like I was looking at Burke's channel over at BB Powered, and he was making a very strong point that things were said that shouldn't have been said. But I mean, I think the only mistake that was made yesterday was going on Recode. That's the mistake. We know what their agenda is. There's no surprise there. They've always been somebody that's been anti-BlackBerry 10 anyway. They've put Chen in a bad situation prior to this. That's the mistake going on there, because honestly, listening to or seeing what was said yesterday, I saw no news come out of that. Everything that was said yesterday has been said before. None of that should have been a surprise to anybody. No one should be going apeshit over it like they are yesterday and today.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that, but I will say this, and that is that over the last year or two, I think it's been important for BlackBerry to get its name out there, and it's a tired thing to say, but any news is good news, and if it gets people talking about the product, the brand, the name, the devices, then there's a certain amount of that is good for the brand anyway. Now, we all know that there's some voices out there that are picking on the wrong kind of points. But the simple fact that this is our our subject of choice this evening, speaks to the idea that news is good news, or it can be anyway. And there's some radical idiots that go off the deep end. Go ahead, Bartron.
I was gonna say, Chen had to go to Recode. He has to go to the Lion's Den or the Dragon's Den because he has to sell it. He can't just stay, and this is true for not just for BlackBerry, for all BlackBerry fans who are trying to get others into BlackBerry. You don't go to where all the BlackBerry people hang out, because then you're just preaching to the converted. You go to where all the BlackBerry haters are. And those are the ones you're trying to convert, and that's what we got to do. And that's what Chen has to do. So he has to show up at a place like Recode. He has to go talk to all those BlackBerry haters to try to. He won't convert them. He won't convert the journalists or the blogs or whatever, but he can get the word out to the audience and listeners. And some of them probably will change, or at least warm up to it, or at least open to the idea.
Yeah, you got to hand it to the guy for picking up the sword,
yeah.
And is slaying his way through the public there, dragging his canoe behind him. You got to hand it to the guy for jumping in. So, and he's not scared of that kind of stuff. That's cool. And there are a whole pile of people, I suspect, many thousands, many hundreds of thousands, that are going to take this Priv device and go, yeah, I want that. It looks cool. And so if he can make that happen, and I think he will, then it's good for all of us. But anyway, back to the idea that mistakes are made, whatever. I mean, I don't know what to say about the negative Nazis. I don't know what to say about them. They pick on the negative stuff and they ignore the positive things, and they're the ones that are making John Chen come on inside BlackBerry and defend himself.
Exactly.
The very people that celebrated his inclusion, existence, his being the CEO, the very people that are loved that are now, they got spears out. Dude, what's wrong with you?
Well, the people that were fighting, the people that were fighting for BlackBerry, not all of them obviously, but so many of them are now just convinced it's over. And here's the thing, as vocal as they were when they were fighting for BlackBerry, I swear they're being more vocal now, thinking that it's all over, and they're damaging the brand. You know, now you've got people that were known BlackBerry fans out there actually damaging the brand. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Definitely.
See, I included on this post a little definition I just pulled off of a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I mean, a self-fulfilling prophecy is basically the Kevin Costner movie, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. And what's happening now is so many people have the expectation of we're going to hear BlackBerry is gone, that they can hear, or BlackBerry 10, I'm sorry, is gone, that's what they're hearing in every conversation. You know, no matter what happens, that is the end result that they're seeking and they're finding, and they're blowing it out there. And like, I'm sorry, I'm to the point now where I'm waiting for BlackBerry to take the fight to the competition. So that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
and I had a completely different read.
I equated to that gas shortage in the 70s, where some idiot, or I shouldn't say one idiot, a bunch of idiots decided, hey, we could jack up the price of gas by making it look like there's a shortage. What happened is people rushed to buy gas and actually created the shortage. And this is basically what you're getting at, the self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, BlackBerry 10 is not going away, but these Chicken Littles keep saying, oh no, it's going away, it's going away, and that is going to cause BlackBerry 10's popularity to drop, or the risk anyways. And
yeah, it sure doesn't help a developer that sees that kind of talk. And you're right, you know, the self-fulfilling prophecy is a term I've used in BBM groups and on the forums to try and battle these kinds of conversations, and sometimes it feels like you're wasting your time. Ultimately, I don't feel like I'm wasting my time. I'm an optimist. I see better things, and some people just give up. I don't know what the problem is, but that's what they do. It's human beings.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see Burke do that. It's quite surprised. I shouldn't speak.
Despite this though, one of the things that I think some of these people that are kind of changing their attitude are saying is that they're not really hearing a reassuring message from BlackBerry. So I think one of the things that they could do is to at least issue like some kind of reassuring message, you know, saying, you know what, we're going to continue with BlackBerry 10. I know that they have done that, but they need to reinforce sending out that message. Even Chen's interview yesterday with Recode, one of the things that I felt that he could have done more is stray away from the negative. You know, don't talk about black phone. Don't talk about possibility of not continuing the device business. Or talk about Crave, we have a new device. It's going to complement our offering. We're going to still have BlackBerry 10, but so that's what I'm saying. You know, just don't give them a chance to misconstrue what you're saying into a negative headline.
Yeah,
you have to be on point, especially when you're in that kind of situation. You know, you've got to be a little bit more. And I'm not saying that Chen isn't aware, but I'm just saying that he's got to be more mindful of how things that he can say can be misconstrued.
Yeah,
so what do you think would fix that?
At the same time, Webb, we don't know what was asked. we have excerpts of that conversation. I mean, do we really think that Chin just brought up Black Phone out of the blue on his own without any questioning on that? I don't. I'm sure that was brought into the conversation. Do we think that he wasn't asked 17 times if they're getting out of the BB10 headset business, because he's asked that on every single interview? And I mean, the thing that we need to remember is that BlackBerry is a public company that isn't where it's supposed to be. It's still in the middle of a turnaround. He's still trying to make a profit in that handset business.
I get that.
It is a public company with stockholders, so he cannot sit there and say, I'm going to continue dumping money into BB10 forever.
Okay,
and still hold his position.
No, I don't think you got what I said. What I'm basically saying is that you're introducing the PRIV to basically increase handset sales. I get that, right? But you could say, you know what? We're introducing the PRIV, but we're going to still have BlackBerry 10, so that people know that you still have BlackBerry 10 with the PRIV, that you're not discounting one for the other, that you are basically complementing your.
I think what Webb is looking for is a roadmap.
Yeah.
I just don't think he can do that right now. I really don't believe he can do that right now.
Yeah, I think it's
because
I got to correct myself. I said Burke was giving up. It wasn't him. I was thinking someone else. What Burke was saying was Webster was saying. Some of the things he said gives the haters and the competitors an opportunity to twist it and make it look like a negative.
Yeah, you don't give your haters ammunition to use against you. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we see politicians that a lot. They say something, what they mean as well. It's innocuous, but it can be twisted to make it look like something else. And this is what Burke's point was, and he made it quite clear in his channel. And a very good example he gave too. And that's what Webster is saying. That's the same thing, And he has to be very careful because of that. Like, for instance, comparing to the Black Phone, when I read that, the first thing that came to mind is I'm thinking, oh, he's comparing Black Phone to all BlackBerry 10s, all BlackBerry's phones. He's not. He's comparing the Black Phone, Android phone, with the BlackBerry Android phone, not the BlackBerry 10. So he's not saying the Black Phone
which is
as secure
what
as
comes
BlackBerry
back
10.
to the cherry picking bullshit that all of these journalists,
right,
hang their hat on. It's bullshit.
And that goes to what a few of us have been saying, is that BlackBerry can only secure Android to a certain point. After that, if they want to secure it more than that, they have to rewrite it. Redesign it, rewrite it.
It's going to happen, but my deal on that is if you can stop it from being rooted, you've got half a chance. And then it's up to the user to use nefarious apps if that's what they want to do. But if you can keep it from being rooted, you've got half a chance of keeping it secure.
And like I said in the forum, it's called PRIV for privacy, not SEC for security.
Yeah, good point. I saw that today.
He never said. He always talked about privacy and productivity. When he came talking to the PRIV, he never said security, except this time when he talked about the pin and the chip. But otherwise, everything else that's been said about the PRIV from BlackBerry has never included the word security. It's just about privacy and productivity. You want security, go to BlackBerry 10. He knows, they know damn well they can't secure Android as well as BlackBerry 10 unless they rewrite Android. But if they did that, they would just create BlackBerry 10 again.
Let's pinpoint the conversation down, because we're everywhere right now. Because I mean, let's go back to the things that he spoke about, or that we read his answers to, and because this is a big complaint, like on Burke's channel, and not just Burke, but several other places we've seen it. People are like, why did he speak about this? Why did he even talk about that? And I mean, again, we don't have the entire conversation. We have tidbits that they pulled out of it to share. I would be willing to bet a beer that he never brought up Black Phone first. Somebody else did. 3 beers. Okay, 3 beers for. There you go.
But okay, here are the points that stood out. Okay, first one is his comparison to Black Phone and saying we're about as good as Samsung Knox and Black Phone. The second thing was he didn't actually commit when he was asked, at least according to The Verge, he was asked if there were going to be BlackBerry 10 releases, and he said that depends on the business. That's a business decision. Those are the two things that really stood out for me.
Well, as far as the future BlackBerry phones, because that's the one that keeps standing out for everybody. I don't think he can sit there and say I'm going to keep producing BB10 phones forever because there are stockholders. I mean, as of right now, the BB10 phones aren't making it. Now, give it 6 months down the line, if the Priv takes off like we're expecting it to, and like obviously he's expecting it to, and that device business is in the black and making money, then he can come out and say this. So, I mean, I see something totally different. He's repeated this several times. He's not giving a black and white answer. And he gave a timeline before that he said he had a timeline, but he wouldn't give. Now he's saying, within a year. He's also said several times that it would be, 2 to 3 years before they could even get out of BB10 because they need to transition these customers. I think what he's doing at this point is buying himself time. He knows that handset business is going to be in the black. That's what the only thing that I consider news out of yesterday was something that we read on The Verge, which is him saying they need 5 million handsets to be in the black, which is half of what he said last year. Yeah. So I consider that, I mean, obviously the way we got there was through the downsizing and the streamlining and getting rid of some of the manufacturing out to other parties, but I consider that good news. We need half the amount of devices that we needed last year to be profitable.
Yeah,
and I believe once we're profitable, he can lay out the roadmap for BB10.
And there's one case where he can afford to lose money on it, and that's where he ties it to software. Say, kind of like what you look at, let's say, Sony did with the PlayStation 3. Apparently, they were losing money on the console in order to make money on the software. Now, if he can tie it, if he can tie it, say, okay, if you buy these handsets from us, these BlackBerry 10 handsets, we give you a discount on your subscription or your BES and whatever software and else or licensing they want to sell. So if they tie it to other stuff, then he can afford because he can throw it in as a turnkey. Kind of like, what do they call it, value-added feature, I believe is the term. In that case, he can. And because BlackBerry basically sells everything in the whole system from the except the server hardware. You get the software, the patents, the embedded software, the handsets, and the communication infrastructure, etc. He has a good chance of doing that. Or there's a chance. I won't say good, but there's a chance that's possible. So he can afford to even break even on it.
Bartron, I think it's more of a chance. Paused for effect, yeah. Anyway. No, well, whatever. I think that you're right, and I think that if anybody can fix this stuff, it's him. Go ahead, Webb.
Honestly, I think he's really lowballing what he really wants to do. I think he's given a figure of 5 million because maybe in his projections he has a higher amount in mind that he thinks that he'd be able to sell. It's just just saying aim high but sell low, so that at least he meets his expectations. I don't think realistically he's thinking about selling just 5 million handsets a year.
No, he is saying that he needs to sell 5 million to become profitable. Of course, he would like to sell 200 million a year, but he was saying he needs 5 million to be profitable.
I think what he needs at this point is just to be in the black.
Yeah.
Once he's in the black, He
This
can
is
go
Brad.
and we attack.
This is Brad being the armchair CEO. Just so you know, like the 4 people that are watching right now. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm literally in the armchairs. So.
Bring it on. Like, sorry, I interrupted or something, or not.
Well, I mean that's all it comes down to me is he can't sit there and make promises. He can't. This is a company that has to make money, pure and simple. That
Right.
They've got the stockholders to deal with. Now, of course, we BlackBerry 10 users, we're very concerned about our phones. We want to hear that yes, they're going to continue making these phones forever. But he can't make that promise until he's profitable. And I think. I mean, he's being clear that he's planning on being profitable. It's within the next 2 quarters, right? So that's 6 months down the road.
Yeah, that's his projection. Absolutely.
That's his projection.
Yeah. So 6 months, he's planning on being profitable. So he gives a timeline for BlackBerry 10 of a year. You know, think about it. He just bought himself time. He bought us time, and we need to recognize that as fans that. They're still producing, or you know what I mean. We still have BlackBerry 10 phones out there that we can buy. There are updates coming to the software. Why are people within our community running out there and bad-mouthing BlackBerry to try and kill the business that they have? You know, we've got Chuckles out there causing more of an uproar than The Verge or Recode, and there's people that are so upset that BlackBerry 10 is going away that they can make it go away, by pushing people out of the community. That's what they're doing. Chin has no intention of BlackBerry 10 going away. He's made it perfectly clear that he's offering people choice. He's given a timeline to where if we're not profitable at this point, that's when I will look at transitioning or getting out of the handset business. But all you need to do is go back a little bit and see that he's given twice as much time for that timeline that he's given himself previously to be profitable.
The guy is a fox. People can pick on him, and to be completely honest, and hey, John, if you're not watching this, because I know you're not, there's some things that get said that are slightly ESL. And there's some things that are in his head that get put out there that sound wrong to an audience, but I know that all he's talking about is the benefit of the company and to the products that we want. So to be taken out of context is just the worst thing, and there are more people looking for the things to be taken out of context from John Chen and or BlackBerry in general than any other frickin' company I've ever seen before. It's unbelievable. So, John, I know you're not watching. I love you, man. And I wish that your interviewers weren't such a bunch of dickheads. It's too bad. And I wish you had the opportunity to explain yourself in better circumstances, because it's not in better terms, it's in better circumstances. The people that are interviewing you, and I'll use the strongest word ever on a podcast from UTB, are assholes. Sorry.
We're never going to make it to family entertainment.
Well, call a spade a spade.
No, Spade's not with us anymore.
Hi, Mike.
He left some time ago.
It's a given.
Well, sorry about that, but it's in my little world. It's just true. Sorry.
So, anything else we want to go over on yesterday? Because I mean, this is killing me. It really is. It's just to see us infighting, to see us attacking each other, to see people that have been previously standing up for BlackBerry attacking BlackBerry, when if we just step back and look at it and take our emotions out of it, we can see exactly what's happening. It's nothing crazy going on. I mean, we keep hearing, read between the lines, read between the lines. It's like, well, stop reading between the lines and read the lines. It's very clear.
Yeah, they're creating all these inferences. Because if you don't, the fact is, BlackBerry said since June, Lou Gazzola on their forums, it was June or even May, that they're sticking with BlackBerry 10, and they're going to come up with new features, etc. BlackBerry's coming out with an Android phone. They never said that it was not going to run BlackBerry 10. They just said the Priv is going to run Android. So it might run BlackBerry 10, it might not, we don't know. Everything else is basically inference and speculation, and I don't really, it baffles me why people just create these inferences that they know are going to agonize over. BlackBerry
we're creating our own problem.
10, and they get all grief and they panic and, geez, they're making up stuff that they're getting, that's aggravating them. It's ridiculous. Stick to the facts.
If you want the facts, then you want what the CEO said.
Yeah.
Which was it last week I said it, or week before, where he said go back and listen to everything again, listen to all the interviews he did after the earnings call? Because if people would have actually done that and went back and found all of his BNN interviews, which there was 2 of them, one that they broke into 2, and the earnings call, there was nothing new yesterday. There was nothing new that Recode showed us. And to see everybody just go fly off the handle again for hearing the same thing again, excuse me while I groan. Like I'm completely avoiding Twitter. I'm avoiding Twitter just because I don't want to see. I see enough on channels, which I go to channels first anyway, that I don't want to go to Twitter.
Yep. Yeah, same here. I've actually stayed. I dabbled in when the rumors first came out. I dabbled in it a bit. Regret it, getting involved. After maybe a week, I said, screw that. I stayed out. I stayed out of the group for a while. I peek in every now and then. I say, okay, has the dust settled? Okay, I'll go back in. And yeah, maybe it's because I've been through worse in life, but the fact is, I know BlackBerry is going to keep going, making phones for a while. If they don't, then I'll just buy up the entire remaining supply of passports, and that'll last me a lifetime.
Well, we've said since we started out is don't listen to people just putting their spin on things. And I mean, obviously we're all bloggers, and none of us are journalists. We're all bloggers. That's what we are, and we all put our spin on it. We all put our own ideas into it. So we expect who we call the troll media to be trying to bury BlackBerry. We expect that. That's nothing new to us. And I think a big part of the issue right now is that these BlackBerry-centric sites have completely flipped on us. And I mean, we know that a lot of them have lost their friends there. Probably some sources. What they had that was getting them ahead, it's probably no longer there in many of the cases. And I mean, when you're looking at the other podcasts that's out there, the other regular podcasts, and they're sitting there telling their viewers that BB10's days are numbered, that's a large portion of the community that's just believing what they're saying. You know, and when you've got what used to be the second site is now completely given up and flipped over and have become basically competition to our geek site instead of our BlackBerry site.
No, Brad, it's mini BGR.
Okay, they became mini BGR, so they don't care.
Yeah, that's
But I mean,
true.
that's we just need to keep hammering to people that if you're hearing this, go look at the source. And you know, I mean, I full on admit I have huge biases. You know, I am extremely biased against Apple.
No way.
Yeah, I admit it. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh no, we're a news site. No, we are a blog, and we're telling a story. We're putting the news into our voice, which is what they're doing too. But you need to be able to recognize what their bias is. And when you've got a website where 99.9% of the staff are not using BlackBerries, I don't think they're speaking for us anymore.
Yeah.
Of course they're not. It's a generic thing, and it is what it is. I don't know. Who are the sites that are exclusively BlackBerry now?
Honestly, I mean, some of them we've made some waves. I've heard stories that some people don't much care for us out there. I'll be honest about it. But I mean, the sites that I appreciate, and I mean, I don't go to all these sites every day, but there's things that I see on the sites and I appreciate it, and every now and then I'll jump in and leave a comment, even as UTB Brad, just to say, you know, it's like, not that I think I'm special, but hey, it's like, hey, I like you guys, you know, hopefully you like us back. But I mean, like BlackBerry OS, Nerdberry, Quinn's group, the Team BB blogs, which honestly the majority of them are not in English, so grab your translating software. But like we had Roy from Barry IL on here. They're huge fans. They're huge fans that are looking out for BlackBerry. You know, they're still fighting the fight, while the typical sites that we all followed have really just shoveled over on them. They really have.
Well, why would you do a thing like that?
Spineless. I mean, I'll say it. They're completely spineless. They saw the direction the market was going, and they're trying to get a payday, and they thought that there would be a bigger payday by moving onto other platforms or allowing the brand to be trolled. And for one of the sites, it worked. I mean, it's still working for them. When your income is based off of clicks, it's great to have people fighting in your forums, because the angrier they get and the madder they get and the more police they get, they're in there clicking, and each click is income. So good for them. They found a strategy. You know, they found a strategy to make money. The other sites aren't doing that. They're not getting that. So I don't understand it.
Well, I don't understand it either. You either have an agenda, and to be perfectly honest and transparent, we have an agenda.
Yes, we do.
And the agenda is, not to speak for you, or all of us, but you know, the agenda is to fight for our brand of choice, which is BlackBerry. And our agenda is to further that and make sure that people understand the truth about what BlackBerry can offer and all of their devices can do. And one of the reasons that maybe some people don't really like us very much is our agenda is to show why some other things are sort of crappy. And that's kind of our agenda.
But you know what? I mean, we're putting a narrative to the story. We're doing that. But one thing that And I do think we started this. I'm seeing other sites doing it, but I really think that we started it. We're sourcing where we're getting everything from. You know, it's like if I'm going to post an article about an iPhone fail, I'm going to post exactly where I got that article from, and 9 times out of 10, it's from an Apple fan site, you know, and
Sure.
and the majority of what we're seeing from these other sites talking about the end of BlackBerry 10, where's the source? You know, where is it?
There isn't any.
Yeah, show me the source, because we're all listening to the same thing. We're all seeing the same thing, and a lot of people are repeating what they're reading in the forums of Crackberry or listening to on the podcast or reading on the front page of N4BB. Go past that. Go into the source, because if somebody reads where I'm trashing Apple, I invite you to go look at the source. Go look at the bottom of my post. The source is there. Or sometimes I'll fit it into the post somewhere. But there's always a source, and you can say what I'm writing is BS and go look at the source. Go for it. You know, because you're going to find out that the information is correct, but I put a narrative to it.
Yeah.
And I tend to, and honestly, if you go look at their sources, because I have several times, there's a lot of implying that I don't see in that source.
Well, I think most of it is the repetition of market analyst type of verbiage, and those people don't have any. They don't have any ability to know what's going on in the industry or whatever at all. They have an opinion, and these opinions get spread across all of their brethren and all of these other idiots that like to spew this stuff. I don't know why people want to kill BlackBerry. I just don't. But there's a whole pile of people that do, and they all just repeat it and put their little spin on it. It's really kind of bizarre. Do I have a little tin hat on? I don't think so. I think more now than ever, it's more obvious than being a tin hat thing. All you got to do is look around and see a bunch of people who, if you really wanted to drill into it, they probably own Apple shares, or something like that, and that's the kind of thing that they're spinning on. I don't know why anybody would want to kill a company. I don't know why. There's thousands of people who have jobs. There's nothing wrong with competition. I do not understand why anybody would want to kill a company, but millions of comments seem to make it want to be. It's completely ridiculous.
Yep, and just adding to your point, Dave, like what I remember one of these so-called analysts, I believe it was Fawcett, Morgan Stanley.
Fawcett.
Yeah, 8,000 devices sold. Do you remember that?
Idiot.
Yeah, it's like they come on and they basically get proven wrong over and over and over again, yet the media still goes back to them for their opinion, and their opinion sometimes affects stock prices. You know what I mean? It's just
and Webb, you picked on the perfect guy, because he is a Morgan Stanley slut.
Yeah.
And Morgan Stanley increased their BlackBerry shares by double.
Yeah. Wow.
So anybody that puts their faith in Fawcett and with Morgan Stanley is probably kidding themselves, where these guys were all about mobile before Mobile Iron, MOBL.
Before Aviva.
right? And because that's such an epic failure, they doubled down on their BlackBerry shares. Blah, ha ha.
Yeah, while Fawcett was trolling and saying 8,000 devices, his employer was buying up shares.
Yeah,
Talk about the stock manipulation.
Yeah. Go riff on that, Bartron. Go riff.
Talk about stock manipulation.
Yeah.
That's about as obvious as it gets.
It's sickening. And so it makes you realize that all of these people with all of these voices that we're all glued into, the what is it, the Seeking Alphas, the Market Watches, all of those stinking, seething opinions that come out of there. Some of them we like because they're on our side or whatever, but they're all a bunch of it's a sick brotherhood, I think, and it's market manipulation. It's very bad news. It's bad news. There's people out to get BlackBerry. It's bad.
One thing I'm noticing, though, in the news, because remember about a year ago, a lot of media outlets were basically speculating, whether BlackBerry was going to survive or not. Now it kind of seems to have changed. Even in the negative outlets, they're more upbeat in terms of BlackBerry survive as a company, BlackBerry continuing. I think a lot of it is due to what John Chen has been doing in the last year, because they can't ignore the fact that they've been making partnerships with all of these different companies. They can't ignore the fact that they have made some strategic acquisitions. They can't ignore the fact that the money that they're earning from their software holdings is growing every quarter. Even like this quarter, I believe it was significant. It was significant.
I think it went up 19%.
Yeah, it went up about 19%. So
that's a really good point, Webb. And let's just look at the acquisitions that have happened over the last 365 days, or is it 366? I don't know. Anyway, what do we got?
Ad hoc.
Ad hoc, Watchdogs. What else we got? Good. SecuSmart. What else we got? There's some smaller players too. These things are not the sign of a company that's going away.
Exactly.
Hello? You do these things because you're organizing and creating. You don't do these things because you need to go away.
The issue is that... Go ahead, Webster.
Yeah. And even today, I think I read in one of those news reports that BlackBerry is having like a joint, conference with Google. Do any of you guys see it?
Yeah, actually, I signed up for that. I signed up for that webinar. I'm totally going to be in there.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a company that's dying. That's what I'm trying to say.
It is. That's another one. That's another finger. I'm watching that, and I'm going to talk about it.
Now, the issue with the stock is that these acquisitions are strategic, and it's going to take a while for them to generate the revenue, especially something like Good, because they were losing money. They weren't even profitable.
No, they weren't, but you know what?
The problem is that investors, they are thinking short term. Oh, I'm not making money the next earning calls, then screw it, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I think BlackBerry bought them so that the app portfolio that they had for the security portion of the iPhone, security, it is that was redundant. Anyway, I think that they want that portfolio so that they can pull it into Bez and smoosh, Good out of the way. Whenever the contracts
And they
run
bought
out,
their customers as well. I mean, there's
they doubled their customer base. Now I don't know. I don't think they doubled their endpoint count, but they doubled their customer base. If you know what I'm saying, because I think BlackBerry has a much higher endpoint count, and even if not, it's a much more important endpoint count based on DoD and G7 and blah blah blah. And Good just has a bunch of, Good, sorry for the pun, company, customers, and then their number of customers, the endpoints, is probably smaller than BlackBerry's, but whatever, they just call it double.
I think so. Also, there's a technological aspect to this acquisition as well.
Yeah,
because
no doubt.
Thing about Good is that it does security, but at the application level layer, right? Which BlackBerry wanted, especially with Bez. Maybe in the future you might see them merging both of them, together.
Yeah, Webb, I seriously think that Good servers are going to be upgraded to Bez servers when the contracts run out.
Right, I agree.
That's what I think is going to happen. If I ran it, I'd totally do that.
Yeah, I don't see anything but that happening. They're not going to leave.
No, I totally think that all of the features that Good has,
right,
which are as good or better than what I have, being BlackBerry, I would absorb those, put them into Bez, and put Good to sleep as soon as contracts run out.
It's all about making Bez better.
Absolutely. Totally what I would do in a heartbeat.
I'm going to speak for Nick here, because Nick hit on a really nice point that I kind of think this webinar could be kind of pointing to the direction to. And you look at what BlackBerry's getting into and the base that they're forming and the upcoming IoT, I could completely see Google wanting to work with them. Google has its fingers in everything, and they've got more money than anybody but Apple, pretty much. But they haven't had a very good track record as far as products, whereas BlackBerry doesn't have the money, but they've got some amazing products out there. With the IoT coming and wanting everything to be a standard tech to where everything works together. That's the whole idea behind the IoT, is things will work together. Nick was questioning what if Google is not merging but partnering up with BlackBerry to basically kick Apple out of that space. And I could see an amazing partnership between our secure, loved brand and the enemy, to get rid of a scarier enemy.
Yeah, that's what I was had in mind when I posted a thing about how if enterprise jump onto the priv, it could devastate Apple in the enterprise space. That was basically the idea, kind of thing I had in mind, and it's true, because the reason why a lot of these enterprises went to iOS from BlackBerries is because they weren't sure if BlackBerry was going to be in business.
Right.
I don't know, Brad. Kind of makes me want to buy a bigger pack of condoms. Sorry, just had to throw that.
So now that BlackBerry everybody knows that they're not going to go out of business. The issue, some still think they're going to get out of handset business, but if the priv sells well and makes it profitable, then we know BlackBerry is going to stay in business, and then they'll end up with BlackBerry security and the apps that would wipe out, or I won't say wipe out, but it would devastate Apple in the enterprise space. Really, the only reason an enterprise would want to stick with Apple is because well, they're some blind fanboyism, or that IBM deal with Apple has some apps that these enterprises absolutely need.
Whatever happened to those 100 apps that they were supposed to build?
Yeah, they didn't happen.
2 years ago?
Yeah, I think they're only at, what, 30-something, 40-something?
Yeah.
Well, I should go look at the list of apps, but I guffawed at the list of apps at its presentation. And I think that they rolled out some more stuff 6 months later, and I thought, dude, you're screwing around in an airport or whatever? Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. But I'll be honest and say that I haven't looked at what they were doing lately, and I guess that because I haven't seen any new news, that maybe there isn't any, and it's a fail. I don't know.
If it was doing well, they'd be bragging about it. That's the way I see it.
No shit. That's what they do. Bartron, that's what they do, bud.
So, if they're not bragging, it's just like kind of like how they don't specify the sales of the Apple Watch. Yeah, well, if it sold well, they'd be bragging. If they're not bragging,
and now it went to Best Buy, and then it went to who the hell did it go to that I thought was?
I just heard it was coming to Target.
I was just about to say Target.
Boom, 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 boom.
It doesn't make a difference in Canada now.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed with Apple though is that there's very, very over-reliant on iPhone sales. You look at them, about 55 to 60% of their revenue.
I think it's higher. Web, I think it's higher, buddy.
Yeah, it is.
Every
it's like 70.
No, I think it's 55. 55 or 60 was the last I saw. iPad was another 15 or 20. Basically, you're looking at about something like 85. 80 or 85% of their revenue is from iPad and iPhone.
So basically, most of their eggs are just in one basket, which is one of the reasons why I like what BlackBerry is doing. Apart from handsets, getting into IoT, getting into security, getting into all of these different partnerships, because down the road, that could pay off. Because you look at the smartphone business right now. At a certain point in time, not everybody's going to be buying upgrading every 6 months, every 9 months, every year. You know what I mean? There's going to come up a point in time where that business slows down. It's not going to grow exponentially, forever. So I like what BlackBerry is doing in terms of securing like additional revenue streams, is what CEO John Sheds mentioned, in a lot of previous interviews.
I think there's going to come a point in time where the things that we carry in our hip or in our pocket or in our shirt pocket are the only computing devices that we need.
Right.
And the person that wins that race is the person that wins. And based on iOS, I sure as hell hope that they don't win, because it was the wimpiest, sort of saddest operating system for mobile that exists. It doesn't matter that it's the oldest, it's just the crappiest. Android.
Well, it's not capable of being that. I mean, we all want that.
That's what I'm saying.
Star Trek tricorder. It won't be iOS. It can't be, because it's not capable.
No, they would have to. They would have to do what BlackBerry did.
When you look at iOS right now, I remember like when they first came out with the iPhone and they had that Safari browser, and one of the reasons why there is such a proliferation in apps was because the browser was just not good enough, and they had to actually create apps to give functionality to that.
Wait a minute! Wait a minute! Webb, are you saying that it was a piece of shit?
What I'm basically saying is that it was not as adequate as it should have been.
Well, I mean, no, Webb, you're exactly right. The whole purpose of, I mean, there were apps before iPhone,
Yeah.
but the
whole
reason these apps exploded and these app markets exploded and everybody has to have these apps now is because of the iPhone being incapable of doing smartphone functions out of the box.
Because if you
Go ahead, Webb.
Yeah, because if you look at, because I was reading some of interviews of Steve Jobs when the iPhone was coming about, and he really wanted to use a browser. He did not really want to have apps, but because it was so bad, that's how the whole app proliferation thing came. Because a lot of apps you don't really need them. You could just use a browser.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just a reflection in terms of the operating system that they have and the crappy Safari browser. Why, for certain basic functions, you just need apps. Or even the limitations on some of the phone's functionalities. I mean, BB10 out of the box, superior phone, no doubt about that. I mean, I've used iOS,
shit.
I've used,
Yeah.
Yeah, the apps that I think
it's a cult.
The apps that should be out there that people should be looking at, I mean, honestly, are specialized apps that are needed for some part of their job or games.
Right.
Because the majority of the apps that are out there, I got to thinking about it like the other day, like an Instagram, that should be a website. That should be like Facebook. What else is out there? Most of these apps should just be websites, but they're apps because you got to have an app.
Anybody with half a brain should be coding in HTML5. It gets across all platforms right now. HTML5. If you don't do that, I don't get it. It can do audio, it can do video, it can do VoIP, it can do any kind of thing that you want to do now. HTML5, I don't get it. It's cross-platform. Firefox phone, could do it. What are the other operating systems? Sailfish. Any other operating system.
Yeah.
Tizen. Come on, get your shit together, dudes. If you want your app to work everywhere, write it in HTML5. Do it. Shut up.
Yeah,
Let's
you
go
write
back.
it once and yes, I'll just finish my point. So as what Dave was saying in regard to that is that the developer would code once in HTML5 and it would work everywhere, whereas having to code for iOS and having to code for Android, Windows Phone or BlackBerry 10, you know what I mean? Okay, so that's basically what I was saying.
Agreed.
Rather than program for 4 or 5 or 6 different things, program once in HTML5.
Yeah, works BB10, works everywhere.
I do want to go back just a ways to talking about the Priv versus the Black Phone, because that was a topic that came up in our group earlier today, and people are saying why is Chin saying that there's good or better the Black Phone. How did he put it exactly? I'm trying to say, but he is basically saying that there's one company out there that could probably say they're better as far as security to the Priv, and called out the Black Phone. People were pretty irate about that, but here's my take on it. We haven't seen the Priv yet. We know this is something new that BlackBerry's doing, and we know that he said several times that they hope to get the security levels up to where they could get the certifications that BlackBerry 10 does. I think he's admitting right there that it's not to that point yet. Like Ian said earlier, he's been talking about privacy. not security. And the we've heard rumors that the security that's being taken on the Priv is more of a monitoring, which will let you know if something's being fouled with your phone. I mean, I think he's being realistic because so many people in our community are saying, well, if the Priv is rooted, BlackBerry's dead. You know, if the Priv is hacked, BlackBerry's dead. And I don't think that's the case. You know, if Android is hacked and Priv is part of it, well, Android's been hacked. If Android's been hacked and the Priv isn't, great. You know, BlackBerry did a better job. But I don't think the Priv in its current state is competition for BlackPhone. I don't think that's what they're doing. When you're talking about the people that are going out looking at the BlackPhone, they should be getting BlackBerry 10, not the Priv, or SecuSmart if you want to get to that level of security. Am I wrong in thinking that?
I think you're perfectly right.
No, you're absolutely wrong.
But one thing though, I mean, the BlackPhone is basically like you know, specialized market, you know, for that that product, right? The Priv is kind of a blend of different markets. I mean, consumer oriented with some kind of enterprise capabilities. So we're looking at two differences. So it's really hard to compare those two, you know, given those facts. I know that BlackBerry intends to improve the Android security on the Priv, but I think right now, as for what they're releasing it's primarily, in my view, a consumer device with some enterprise, you know, capabilities.
Yeah, and the majority.
I don't think
you've got
isn't it?
Go ahead, Brad.
You've got to break down the enterprise market.
Right.
That's what. There's more than governments and high security enterprise.
Exactly.
The vast majority of the enterprise market is not high security needs. That's why Apple has made inroads in there. That's why companies are using iOS and Android.
The only reason companies are using iOS is because that's what their employees want them to have. The Swiss cheese ridiculousness of that operating system is fundamentally bizarre. And if I were running any kind of IT portion of any company, I would be running BES, and I would allow some iOS devices, but I would not be ever using that kind of a platform as the basis of the security in my company. It's completely ridiculous.
When you look at the majority of companies out there, I mean, you've got manufacturing companies that are making strawberry containers. You've got beer companies. You've got bread companies. You've got video game companies. You've got these companies that aren't carrying state secrets. You know, the most important thing that they have are their employee files, and the majority of these companies still to this day keep their employee files in paper, locked up in a cabinet somewhere. It's nothing that you can get access to via your mobile device anyway. So the majority of these companies, they don't need that top level SecuSmart security, and I think that's part of what the issue has been for BlackBerry 10 is a lot of these companies don't need BlackBerry 10. So when the employees are coming and saying, I want an iPhone because I want to be able to Instagram my coffee to my friends, there's really no loss for them that they can see as far as security, because that employee's not going to have access to something that they've got to keep secret.
I think also another point is that a lot of employees did not want to carry two phones. They just want to carry one. And for many of them, I guess they had iOS as their personal phone, and maybe they had a BlackBerry as their work phone. And I think a lot of them were saying, why can't I just carry my my phone? Why do I need to carry two? So I think that's one of the reasons why iOS proliferated in some of these organizations.
Agreed. Which now with Bez, you can split that work and personal. That's amazing. Exactly. Now they can totally carry one device, and the company shouldn't need to worry.
Yes.
Did we lose Dave?
I think so.
Yeah. Poor Dave. I knew him well.
I had nothing else to say on this topic. I said everything I wanted to.
Yeah.
And should say.
I did too. Other topics, just to throw in, I went out and had a beer with Chap and BJ yesterday. Just wanted to throw that out. That was a lot of fun. And we didn't give our UTB VIP last week. Completely forgot about that. Did Dave just come back?
Yep.
No.
Looks like he came back. No.
Oh, okay. Well, we didn't give our UTB VIP last week, and we've been missing Chap because he's been over here in the United States, and apparently he can't find Wi-Fi, can't make his way to a Starbucks or something to get on here. And we felt kind of bad for somebody that's really just really into Chap. Good old Wayno doing the Chap challenge. So we made Wayno our UTB VIP, and in about 2 hours from now, his coffee cup will be flying back to Australia with Chap.
Yay!
Save me on some postage.
It's too cool to have someone, making Chap sweat. So, it's so cool. Way to go!
Yeah, so Chap made, basically 30 hours worth of flights just to pick up your coffee cup, Wayno, so you enjoy it.
I think Wayno owes Chap, beers,
Yep.
And maybe some shrimps on a Barbie.
Any other thing we wanted to touch on? I think we've gone a little long, but I think it was necessary. I do want to go back. I know Ian already went back and said we're not pointing fingers at the BB Powered channel. It's actually one of my top 2 favorite channels, BB Powered and Ping. I'll say them.
I'll say it's one of my favorites.
Same here.
Yeah. So we definitely don't want to be like, oh, now UTB's in a feud with BB Powered. No, we're not. Not at all. But it was, how do you say it? He was pointing out things that we see a lot of people pointing out. As usual, he was ahead of the curve. Got that out before other people, but just wanted to make that clear. Still like to get him and Peeing on here sometime.
Let's do it.
That'd be fun.
Let's do it.
Alrighty. Are we good? Done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm not
Yep,
kid.
I'm done as well.
I'm not kid, but I'm done.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on again, Webb. It's been too long since the last time you've been on. Don't leave me, Ian, and Dave sitting here all the time alone.
I've just been traveling. Yeah,
That's
I've been
right.
traveling a lot
your
lately.
life.
So, next time around.
All right. Good night, guys.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
Be cool.